When I was younger, my family often described me as very hands-on. I was always running my hands through texture, fiddling with jewelry, and stacking random things in an effort to figure out how divided parts could somehow make a connection. As young as 4, this looked like making a car out of cardboard boxes, building skyscrapers using seasoning shakers as brick, or pulling sheets off of my bed to drape myself a twisted gown to put on a show. I followed wherever my imagination took me, and I had every intention to make my dreams real. I didn't always have everything I needed or could afford everything I envisioned. So I loved utilizing the unconventional around me to actualize my thoughts. I was open to any and everything having an alternative purpose or given a new meaning to create. And through my experiments, on a rare occasion, I could reach this point where my fantasy matched my reality. And that's where the magic happened. That's where I found joy. I learned that your idea, your design, your invention, it wasn't just meant to live in your mind, but instead, challenge your mind to entertain new possibilities, and over time, manifest its existence. This led me to believe that the leaders of an improved future are artists. You see, we have this soft power that can fight against issues without a force. And as the definition of what qualifies an artist progressively expands and more mediums are emerging, the arts have the power to push cultural, political, and social boundaries that are prohibiting us from fairly exchanging ideas, resources, and designs, all of which empower us to combat the institutional, environmental, and technological problems that we're all facing. Designer Neri Oxman put words to how I felt when she stated, "Usually, art is for expression. Design is for communication. Engineering is for invention. And science is for exploration. But why can't we take these 4 squares and create a circle like a clock, in which we are constantly moving and shifting from one domain to another, and the input for one domain becomes the output for another? Science converts information into knowledge. Engineering converts knowledge into utility. Design is taking that utility and produces a cultural behavior. And the arts, we question that cultural behavior and use that to challenge our perspective of the world. Artists, we not only have the ability to create fantasies, luxuries, experiences, or augmented worlds beyond our imagination, but by adopting this perspective on integrated domains, we have the capacity to generate a wide spread of innovations within the global economy. However, I'm concerned that there's a disruption within the creative flow. And as industries are racing to advance in technology, we are witnessing attempts to minimize and/or control the role art has in society. With creatives questioning the like, the follow, the subscribe, and most unfortunately, the bottom line, we're becoming of service to a backward behavior that blinds us from looking after innovative processes. As artists, it is our job to give people what they need, not submit to what they want. And when we prioritize this ulterior motive, we run the risk of placing ourselves within a production line that encourages performative authenticity and discourages our duty to question cultural behaviors. This is a formula that depends on the known, rather than giving us the freedom to explore the unknown. And the lucrative cycle is what causes the creative submission to build the exact same way over and over without critical thinking for changing times. And as a result, we have a large supply of cheap, imitated, counterfeit designs that incentivize the majority to buy into destructive behaviors. And when we add technology to the formula, we are only accelerating, repetitively giving power to realities that no longer serve us. This will eliminate art from the feedback loop described by Neri Oxman, and it will incomplete the cycle that lends us to innovation. In an effort to strengthen innovative systems, I wanted to figure out what dilutes the creative contribution within the global economy. I found that a majority of designs and designers are lacking intellectual property protection, global correspondence, and most importantly, sound investment in soft power. And through my socioeconomic studies, I found that we are promoting an environment that platforms imitations over innovations. In 2018, I visited one of the largest wholesale markets in China to witness trade in action. I saw professionals coming from all over to bargain for a deal. Meanwhile, the mission of my 19-year-old self at the time was to find my dream pair of Balenciaga shoes. Embarrassed, to say the least, I settled for a pair of $20 Balenciaga shoes instead. But this experience led me to understand the economical circumstance of the majority to want to buy into dreams that are made affordable. And in the moment, I failed to realize how styling myself in fast fashion came at the expense of unsustainable practices, fractured global relationships, and questionable corporal morality. Very few people get to see how this way of creating perpetuates mass destruction. And I failed to realize how I was helping this destruction look cool and stay on trend. Growing up, all I dreamed of was one day contributing to creating futuristic, innovative, and original designs. Although that dream sometimes felt distant and far from real, what good was that doing? What was I doing making the fake look real? I lost touch with the girl I once knew, the girl who was inspired by her own realities, not trying to copy somebody else's. But this journey led me to understand that innovation doesn't lie within what you present to the world. It lies within the journey, the story, the circumstance, the history, the background, and most importantly, the ideas that you utilize around you. As my favorite lyricist states, take off Chanel, take off the Dolce, take off the Birkin bag, take off all the desirable things and tell me, what do we have? I ridded myself of the Balenciaga shoes and centered my focus on what I do have: a passion for servant leadership, an open perspective to explore, ingenuity in digital creation, and a mission to make the unreal real through media. All of these things will equip me to build innovatively. And although I know, like any innovation, it will take time, but it's well worth it if it means that I get to pass down real inspiration to the next creator to take us further. But I can't do this alone. Innovation thrives in globalization and collaboration. But if we keep choosing these short-term satisfactions built by these imitative systems, we will eradicate the diversity within our creative community, and we will all end up exchanging the exact same things. This will give us no leverage, nothing to hold on to, nothing to pass down, and no charge to make change. In the long run, we will risk being copied, pasted, and then deleted. So Kendrick, what do we wear? What can we build? And how can we come together collectively to address these realities? I think he leaves that part out for us to interpret ourselves. It's time we start asking more questions and stop compromising our ability to innovate. With the exponential growth in technology, many of us have the privilege to import experiences and services from the comfort of our homes, and we're losing access to seeing innovations that are being built. With augmented reality, artificial intelligence, social media, and e-commerce constantly seeking to evolve, so should we. We should be using these new tools and technology to enhance our creative abilities, not employ it to make these imitative systems run faster. If we don't make this shift in technology, it will further obscure our vision, project what isn't true, dictate our actions or reactions, or convince us that we are close to closing this gap, yet still so far. If you think innovation within the arts is a stretch, think again. Today, I am wearing a prototype Oxford shirt that wasn't sewn traditionally, but woven three-dimensionally. Founder of Wefin, Gracia Audrey, is presently redesigning manufacturing models that depend on unsustainable supply chains. She uses origami folding structures and 3D weaving technology to create the textile and the design of the shirt within one step. This shortens the production line and eliminates waste. It's innovations like this that put a greater emphasis on technology and show us how we can build beyond our imagination while staying grounded in our truth. And the truth is, 114 million tons of textile waste is being produced every year. But because of Gracia's questioning, she was able to imagine a new way of working while serving a greater purpose by weaving out waste. I'm counting on us to reevaluate how we engage, inspire, and create. Again, innovation takes time, but remain focused on the passion and the joy that comes from it. Having the chance to sit at the feet of creators around the world who, like me, desire to fuse different subjects of knowledge and hold artists to a higher standard has been a humbling but very inspiring journey. And after seeing a spectrum of creatives innovations bringing us here, 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 and here, I have no doubt that we have the power to break down the very constructs designed to tear us apart. This is why I can't take this moment for granted. I'm grateful to be trusted bringing visions to life, and while doing so, I hope to continue being at the forefront of bringing transparency to innovation. My younger self remains the motivation behind honing in on my creative aptitudes, evolving my skills, studying global economics, and having integrity integrating technology to build a better future. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be standing here today. It's that little girl from Oak Cliff, Texas, who grounds me, and I can't wait to see where she takes me next. In the meantime, thank you for listening to her TED Talk.